Would you like a Season 2 Walking Dead trading card? All you gotta do is hit that like button, make sure you subscribe, and comment below your answer to this question. Wow, there's just so much to go through. Alright, let's just jump right into this because I absolutely love this episode. The people that sat there and said this is their favorite episode of The Walking Dead this season, I agree with. The ones that said maybe even of the entire series so far, I have to take a step back and wonder, but at least I still wonder because it is up there. This was an awesome, awesome episode. We're going to even throw the ratings aside. We're not rating this shit. We're going to talk about this shit because we need to dissect this, have an autopsy of emotional sorts, and see what's really going on here. Because there's a lot of character development, there's a lot of backstory, there's a lot of hidden backstory that you can kind of just, you know what I mean, wonder if it's there, soak up, or fathom, or even just think about in your own little time as a super fan, or just maybe like a casual watcher. Anyway, let's jump right into the governor slaughters his people. You know what I'm saying? His war with the prison dies. He slaughters his people. And there's one thing I want to put out there real quick, and we're going to take it from there, is the governor was once a man who had you know what I mean, a family of his own, and then the world went to shit, and then he went out into the world to struggle and survive and live, and everywhere he went, he found monsters, two kinds, one that ate your flesh, and the other that were people that were just monsters. Everyone he came across were just monsters. This is important later on. Now, in doing so, it was a very short period of time where he dealt with these two types of monsters and then made it to Woodbury, who was controlled by monsters, again, normal people that were just pieces of shit. So he took over Woodbury. Now this is probably in a time frame of maybe not even a year, maybe a year, you know what I mean? So think about it, this time frame of the whole end of the world Woodbury thing, we're talking from a 2-year gap or whatever it may be, 2 or 3 years, and the Woodbury's probably not even a year as a stable community. You know, understand? So his war with Rick and then slaughtering his people, he wasn't the governor for such a long period of time, and he wasn't, you know what I mean? This is something where he was just in it. He's the governor for 6 months. He slaughters his people, and then he's out on the road, and he gets left by Martinez and then that black dude, and he gets out of that little tent, and he just, like, damn. You know what I mean? Like, he's starting to become self-aware of his own monstrosities. He has become the monster, not to fight off other monsters, but to just be a monster in and of itself. You know what I mean? So, that's where the governor, that's where I see him at. A man who's just like, you know what? I'm done. I'm just gonna walk till I fall off the edge of the earth. I don't give a damn. You know what I mean? Maybe he's going for a long ass walk to see if he can find purpose. You know what I mean? Find a new purpose. Maybe it sounds good, but me, I think he just lost his shit. And when you lose your shit in the apocalypse, you know what I mean? You pretty much just go. So that's what he does. He just goes and he turns in, and you can even see it even after he cleans up. You could just, David Morrissey doesn't look as like filled out and as healthy, not insulting the man. The makeup they used, the lighting they used, they make him look aged. He went through hell. He probably didn't even eat for days, weeks as he's walking. Even if he did, it was like a can of tuna or something. So this guy's gone through some shit. Anyway, so he probably is suicidal, very suicidal. He probably wanted that zombie to eat him in the campfire where Martinez plugged that zombie and then it like burnt up or whatever. But let's blow through some facts right now. Easter eggs. Let's knock that out because I absolutely loved the Easter eggs. The first one, he called himself Brian. I know he got it from a name off the wall. Okay, that's what somebody said. But in the governor's real backstory in the original work, which is the comic, and then the novel, the governor's real name is Brian Blake. He took over his brother's identity after he died, becoming Philip Blake, and then he ended up becoming the governor. So it was a transformation. So everyone out there who says, no, the governor's pure evil, he's not this, you know what I mean, kind, caring, compassionate man, what the hell did I just watch? I don't know if you're watching the same shit I'm watching. The governor was keeping his daughter alive as a zombie because that was it. You know what I mean? Like, that was all he had. You know what I'm saying? That was his heart and his soul. He was a compassionate man. He had a wife. He had things he loved, things he cherished. You know what I'm saying? So no, he wasn't pure evil all the time. He transformed into evil to deal with this new world. You understand? Rick came out of the hospital and met up with an RV of nice people who were just trying to survive. The governor went out into that world fighting monsters, both the zombie monsters, the Walking Dead, and the human monsters who wanted to rape, murder, pillage, destroy, steal. You know what I mean? So he had it rough, and that's what turned him into evil at the end of the day. Now, interesting fact on The Walking Dead, I think instead of having 2 meanings now, it'll have a third. The governor was The Walking Dead, just barely sidestepping a zombie, and if that zombie was just a little bit more, I don't know, fresher or whatever, he probably would have got him and ate him. Done deal right there. So he sees this little girl. He thinks it's just like a ghost of his daughter. At least that's how I saw it. He thought it was maybe like an illusion, a mirage, or whatever they call it. So he says, you know what, I have nothing better to do, I'm going to go and explore. So he goes, he explores, and he ends up running across this Tierra. I forget her name. Why did I forget her name? Because the other girl, when they mentioned her name, I literally got out of my seat and was like, no shit. You know what I mean? And no one else caught on. No one else caught on that the other girl's name is Lily. Hold on in a second, I'll get to that. First off, I know he took his name from the wall, I guess, I'm assuming, of names. But, again, like I said, his original name in the original story is Brian Blake. Love that. Now, Lily, for anyone who doesn't want anything ruined or completely spoiled from the comics, earmuff it now. This is a complete let's talk, so we're going to go through everything. Who is Lily? If you don't want that spoiled, don't listen right now. But does anybody know? Lily Call is the one who kills the governor in the original story. It's not Rick. It's not Michonne. Daryl doesn't exist in the original story, so obviously it's not him. Lily Call is the one who actually kills Lori and Judith. We all know Lori's dead already, so don't, crucify me. It's not a complete spoiler. They're not sticking with that story. I just loved how if he was going to run into a girl, female, even though they weren't romantically involved in the original comic book and the novel, as far as I can understand, because where I left off in the novel, Lily was trying to take over Woodbury herself and kill the governor, and that got botched. By the way, not to shamelessly plug well, I guess it's not shameless if it doesn't bring me any money, but a plug. If you love the Walking Dead universe, go out right now and get The Rise of the Governor, okay, by Robert Kirkman and Jay. I cannot pronounce his last name, so don't hold that against me. And then after that, get Road to Woodbury, which explains the story of Lily Call making it to Woodbury. I believe that's her last name. And then the third book that just came out, I think a month ago or this month or whatever, is The Fall of the Governor Part 1, and that finally introduces the story of Rick and the governor meeting up and that whole war and whatever. Now, where were we? Because I just went on a tangent on the Easter eggs. Okay, so the governor wants nothing to do with human beings, nothing to do with people, but he holds up. He sees the little girl and the family and whatever. He's not out to hurt them. At this point, I don't even think he knows what the hell he's doing, you know what I mean? So he sleeps it off. He wants nothing to do with people. He just wants his distance. That's why he's not talking. That's why he's slow to interact, because he's not seeing this as, well, I better interact because I'm going to have a future with these people. He's seeing it as, in 10 minutes, I'm not going to know these people. In an hour, by tomorrow, I'm never going to see these people again, so why the fuck should I answer their questions? Why should I open up to them? But then something happens. He gets left alone with the little girl after he gets an injury, selfishly trying to rescue oxygen tanks for the old man. Now, Lily's dad, and Tierra, whatever her name is. Anyway, so he gets a cut on his head. She goes for peroxide, Lily does, and Megan, who is Lily's daughter, makes him laugh. He says he's a pirate. That's how he lost his eye. she's like, no, you're not, and he just busts out laughing. As a father, I know what that's like. People might not have understood that. It was kind of like one of those lame things where you're like, oh yeah, that's cute, but why is he laughing so hard? When you're a badass, or you're not even just a badass, but when you're completely serious about something and you're taking it totally serious and you're like more of a serious guy, if you say something, like when I say something to my daughter, if she catches me in some bullshit and she's just like, no, or whatever, for some reason it just, yeah, you loosen up a little. I know that firsthand as a father, and I saw that, and it put a smile on my face, and as soon as he started laughing, I was like, no! Don't do it, because I want you to die. I want to hate you. I don't want to like you. But now he's becoming clear that even though he is one of my favorites on the show, he is my favorite because he's the enemy. You know what I mean? I want him to die, and I want him to die in a nice way. Not a nice way, but a very unforgettable way. Anyhow, so he does that little smiling bit with Megan, and it opens him up. Now he's cracked wide open. He's going to be the governor again, which he has this photo of him and his wife and his daughter, and he folds over his own face. You know what I mean? He's just he became aware of his own monstrosities. He's a monster, and he's now aware of it after that, let's call it the post-traumatic stress disorder from living in this life. Now that he knows what kind of monster he is, he's ashamed of it. He's actually ashamed of it. So he covers his face. Now, what exactly he's ashamed of? I mean, does he regret going after Rick so hard? Does he regret trying to kill Michonne? Does he regret killing Andrea? Probably. He probably regrets a lot more than what we didn't see in the TV show, because there's so much we didn't even see. Now, there's probably a lot he regrets, and he's just ashamed of his actions. The girl brings him back to life, and what happens is he starts growing an attachment to these people, and the old man finally dies, and he has to dispatch of him, not in a Herschel kind of way at all, or a Rick kind of way. He beats the old man's face in with his own oxygen tank in front of his family, including his granddaughter. It was pretty violent, but that's the governor. That's how he handles it. You know what I mean? There's a threat, and he's going to dispatch it, and that's what he does. Now, this causes problems with the granddaughter's now scared. She's afraid of the governor. You know what I mean? So he's going to leave. He can't. He's becoming attached to these people, and I think it's scaring him. So he's going to leave. So he packs his bags, and he's like, I'm going to go. And Lily's like, no, we're coming with you. We can't stay here any longer. The only reason we did is because the old man, whatever. So we're coming with you. He says no, and did you notice he was so easy to dismiss people in Woodbury? When he was on top, when he was a monster, when his feelings, he just blocked them out. He dismissed Milton, he dismissed Andrea. I mean, he put her in her place when they went and met Rick. When he said he wanted Rick to give up Michonne or whatever, he put Andrea in her place hardcore. This governor now would not do that. It seems like there's a Brian is trying to keep the governor dead. He wants to be two different, let's say he's two different men, the patch is the governor and the actual I is the human being he's still human. He wants to keep that patch under wraps. He wants to keep the governor, you know what I mean, dead. Let's say the governor died after the assault on the prison. He wants to make sure that man stays dead. Now, he ends up taking them. They end up going, and I really like the journey, except for the whole making out in the back of the van. I don't think you had to do that, but what the hell, fuck it, get a piece of ass, That would have been a lot louder. You guys were right next to them, you know what I mean? So, anyway, so then after that whole making out scene, the van breaks down. No surprise, they run into walkers. They start running. The walkers go after them. The governor has to pick up Megan because you guys already seen it. So they start hauling ass and they fall into the pit. Now I wanted to get to the pit because something happens in this pit that is completely. If the writers did this on accident, I'll be shocked. But let's just look what happened in episode before this. Just the episode before this, episode 5, internment. Yeah, what happened? when Herschel was going to dispatch or kill these zombies, and he seen the kids, he knew the kids were looking and watching. What did Herschel do? What does Herschel do? Just for the sake of it. Just that episode before he lured the zombies away. Now in Herschel's mind, that's fine. He's been in a farm. He's been kind of sheltered pretty much throughout this thing about hesitating. You know what I mean? In Herschel's eyes, he's not thinking of, if you hesitate, you could die. The governor is thinking about hesitation will get you killed. And that's why the governor doesn't hesitate. Because hesitation maybe got his daughter killed. Didn't let the kids see the zombies getting their faces blown off with a shotgun. The governor doesn't do that. The governor doesn't care if he's going to traumatize Megan for the rest of her life by tearing out the throat of a zombie or even bashing another one's face off some broken bones and whatever was down in that pit until the guy's face literally came into pieces. Or how about how he just took the one zombie who was going after Megan and he put like a leg bone in his mouth and then he proceeded to rip the zombie's face off. You know what I'm saying? Like, he doesn't care how traumatizing that. And that was traumatizing for me. Who didn't watch that scene and was like, holy shit? You know what I mean? I definitely was. And Greg Nicotero, I keep bringing you up every single episode. You guys and your special effects team have been knocking it out of the park. Every episode has something that I'm just like, whoa. And so that's the two differences between the governor, who doesn't hesitate, and he won't. When that monster just takes over, he goes after it. And Herschel does. You know what I mean? He hesitates because he's not out there in that world. And people say they see the governor as an anti-Rick. That might be so because, like I said before, Rick came out of the hospital and he went into an RV of nice, decent people, except for Merle, who were just trying to survive and make sense of this senseless world they live in. Now, the governor, let's just say, I'm sure it will come out in backstory, but let's just say, based off the backstory of the novel and the comic, let's just say the governor went into this world and he approached, or he ran into nothing but people other humans, who didn't want to take them in, who didn't want to come together as community. Let's say there was humans who wanted to rape his wife, murder his family, kill them for their own food if they only had like an apple or some cans of tuna. He ran into two types of monsters, the zombie and the humans, who were just degenerate pieces of shit. Then he makes his way to Woodbury. His wife's dead, he has his daughter, makes his way to Woodbury, and Woodbury's run by, because Woodbury was established before he got there, he even says this now, it's run by these military guys who are just pieces of shit. They ration out the food, they're just, you know what I mean, like scumbags, degenerates. They raping the chicks, they making them sleep for food rations with them and whatnot, and something happens and he loses it and he snaps and he murders everyone in charge and he takes over the throne as the governor. And that is his transformation. I said it before and I'll say it again. I had to record this 3 different times because there was it literally messed up the recording anyway, so I don't know how many different times we've talked about this. I don't know if we did it before or not, or if it's fresh or whatever, but I'm just saying that the governor's transformation is key, I think, to this story, because we have to remember he was a decent person before this went down. You know what I mean? And then it made him a little darker and more of a monster. And the governor's thinking, listen, this is how the governor's rationale thinks. And the fish tank explains it perfectly. Why did he have a fish tank set up with zombie heads in it? Because he needed to stare at those trophies so he can become harder and darker, and things wouldn't shock him as much. And the day he looked at those heads and he was comfortable and he wasn't afraid, and he wasn't disgusted, you know what I'm saying? That was the day where he hardened himself enough to protect those he loves. Because as a weak person, as Brian or as Philip Blake, he wasn't strong enough. He wasn't monstrous enough, so to speak. He wasn't badass enough to protect his family, and he lost his daughter and most likely his wife because of it. So that explains the transformation of the governor, and that's what I believe. He's in the pit. He makes a promise to Megan. He's never going to let anything hurt her, rather. And he swears with his life. And then we see Martinez. I like that. I like that little go around, and we see whatever. Now, what's going to happen in the next episode, as far as predictions go, I want to leave this open because they are throwing us some curveballs, ones that I like. Not huge curveballs, but a direction they didn't take. A direction I didn't think they would take, as far as I guess they would dedicate a whole episode to the governor, but I didn't really think they would do it. And now it looks like they're going to do 2 full episodes with the governor. So it's looking like episode 7 is going to be another governor episode. Episode 8, the mid-series finale, is probably going to be a clash between the governor and Martinez's group against the prison, which is probably going to be pretty friggin' exciting. So again, guys, we're going to do a drawing every week as long as I can keep my my equipment from failing me miserably like it has been. And if I can get these videos out every Monday, these Let's Talks, I'm going to change them. We're not doing reviews. We're going to do Let's Talks because I want to talk about these more than review it. I don't want to review it. I can't review it. I love it no matter what. You know what I mean? I'm a fan. I'm a super fan. So I can't review this honestly. And I'll be honest with you. So anyhow, I loved this episode. I mean, loved it. One of my favorites, all-time favorites. And I cannot wait to see what's going to happen next week. Guys, if you want to win a trading card, it's an official Walking Dead trading card. Comment below and answer just a simple question. And the question would be, and I'm going to pick by random. You just got to throw your own opinion out there. Do you think that going with Martinez and this new group is going to bring back that governor evil monster aspect out, or can he keep that contained and be one-eye Bry? You know what I mean? So yeah, can he keep the governor dead inside him and be a new man, or is he deep down inside always going to be the governor? Alright. Guys, thank you very much.